Okay, hello guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yawa Champon, popularly known as Yawa Legend. This will be the official platform to actually communicate and get feedback from my fans, my loving fans, who actually came to me and told me they need more videos tactically because they need to know much of the behind the scenes of football. So we are going to give you a raw content, but gradually, we will try and increase the quality of the video we put out for you people. Guys, today we are starting with a tactical segment on the Ghanaian Tactician platform with the post-match analysis of Liverpool versus Manchester City at the Anfield Stadium. It was a big tactical battle between both coaches, that is in the likes of Jurgen Klopp and that of Pep Guardiola. Now, what actually went on in the game? We'll be using this grade or this tactical board to analyze most of our games, so please bear with me if you're not actually getting the quality well, but gradually, as I promised, we'll surely get there one day with the quality. So the yellow marbles will actually represent Liverpool and the white will represent Manchester City. So without wasting much time, let's set up, then we move straight into the game. Liverpool actually set up in a back four. Now, this video is going to be in three folds for both teams: the build-up phase, the progression phase, and that of the penetrating phase, which actually satisfies the movement of the game. So to start with Liverpool, because they were dominant enough with their build-up. Looking at Liverpool's build-up, they started with a wide build-up using their centre backs to actually expand the pressing shape of Manchester City, which automatically frees spaces for their fullback to utilize the temporary spaces that the Manchester City set up. That stay back they are using. There were these temporal spaces that were actually left, so the fullbacks were actually exploiting it, allowing Harvey Elliott and the like of Luis Diaz to actually be those inside forwards to cause more havoc to the back three of Manchester City. That is why I'm starting with their build-up shape and the intentions Klopp actually had with the back four. Looking at this, the defensive midfielder, who was Endo, was most of the times free because of how Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne were pressing the back four. Now this is the back four, which has actually become a wide one here that we see. So you can see this wide back four here with Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne pressing as the two men up front for Manchester City. The issue with their press was Haaland, when pressing Virgil van Dijk or De Bruyne pressing Kwanzaa, couldn't actually keep up with the shallow cover. So most of the time, Endo was free to receive the ball. And in most cases, if they were tight on Endo, what Klopp was actually doing in the game was he brings in Kelleher into this three-man press here, line of press here. What does this actually mean in football? We call it the La Salgala Volcano. It is a three-man build-up to actually override the two opposition players trying to press that line, and it's really worked a lot for team Liverpool. Now, looking at the midfield battle that went on, Liverpool set it up in a 4-3-3, and that 4-3-3 they had two extra men in McAllister and that of Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai was actually playing alongside the striker, making it a two-man up front with Darwin Núñez. Most of the time, McAllister was the one helping out with Endo using a diagonal balance. And talking of a diagonal balance, one is always ahead of the other. So this becomes a diagonal balance where Endo can drop in and receive the ball, or McAllister can be that floating player to receive the balls in all those pocket sizes. This worked so well, and it actually caused a lot of havoc to Manchester City's setup. Now, looking at this whole variation, City actually had a plan, and their plan was to stop Liverpool's midfield progression. But Liverpool once again had answers to Manchester City's press. Why am I saying this? Looking at the full setup of Manchester City, they set it up in a back three, and that back three went wrong when they started opting for that man-to-man press, where their back three actually goes one-on-one or 1v1 with the front three of Liverpool, which actually exposed the midfield setup of Manchester City, because there were lots of movements, there were lots of regions that were free, especially in these regions, because the back three of Manchester City doesn't actually operate with wing backs or full backs. So this areas are always free. You could see the likes of Gomez and that of Bradley moving into this spaces, these temporal spaces that were left, because the two wingers that started in this game, in the like of Julian Alvarez and that of Phil Foden, couldn't keep up the defensive duty by actually giving assurance to Walker in terms of trying to help him in the defensive space, or Julian Alvarez trying to also help Nathan Ake in that defensive transitions. It really didn't help them a lot. So most of the times when Liverpool starts with this flat back three with their two centre backs staying wide, not close to the goalkeeper, it actually expanded these regions here, freeing up spaces for these two midfielders who are positioned in a diagonal balanced way to get that ball. Then they can spread the passes to the wings, and pressure keeps mounting upon Manchester City. So that is how Liverpool actually transited from their build-up phase to their progression and their penetration. Their penetration was so easy because of these vacant spaces that were there, because of the two wingers not being able to track back in time to actually help the back three in the defensive transitions. We saw a lot of triangles being utilized by Liverpool. These triangles, most of the time I call them the attacking triangles. It kept happening in this game, trying to exploit the relationship between these regions, and they had a lot of movement and a lot of freedom in these spaces. It caused a lot of havoc. And one thing I've been criticizing the defensive midfielder of Manchester City a lot, Rodri. He's an excellent player, a super player, but when it comes to transitions, he is limited. He doesn't do that good job that Pep Guardiola actually needs in him to stop other teams from penetrating them using the turnovers and counter-attacks. That was one thing Manchester City suffered a lot. Now, looking at Manchester City's build-up shape, we are shying away from Liverpool because they did a lot, and we've actually broken down their play throughout the 90 minutes. This is what actually kept happening. Now, to be fair with Manchester City also in their build-up phase did something interesting that caught my eye, and I can't actually not analyze it in this video, else the Manchester City fans won't be happy with me. Now, looking at the setup of Manchester City, they set up in a 3-2-4-1. The 3-2-4-1, during build-up, most of the time, the goalkeeper Ederson actually was the main figure in their build-up shape. Why am I saying that? This back three actually converts and expands into a back four, with Akanji moving to this side or this side, but most often he moves to the right hand side of the goalkeeper because Ederson is a left-footed goalkeeper. His stronger foot is the left foot, so he actually most of the time assumes the left centre back role. Then it allows Nathan Ake, who is a hybrid, can play as a left centre back or a typical centre back, or even a left winger or a left wing back, and in most cases to a left back. So he assumes his position here where he's comfortable. Then Kyle Walker moves onto the touchline. Then Manchester City gets that back four they need. So in this build-up, what actually happens is that City try as much as possible to create a magic box, and their magic box is so good in the sense that they create double magic box with Kevin De Bruyne and that of Bernardo Silva also helping in this magic box. And what this magic box actually do is it squeezes the setup of Liverpool to actually try and press them infield. When you try pressing them infield, it gives them license to use the wide regions as their escape outlets. And if they are progressing the ball from midfield, they have that dominant players who can actually do that sequence and series of passes, then they can escape into the final areas. Now, moving to the penetrative aspect of Manchester City, it was quite surprising starting Julian Alvarez on the wings and Erling Haaland as the target man for Manchester City. It is simple. If you have a presence like Erling Haaland in your team, it actually attracts two centre backs on him, and these spaces they keep opening, and these pocket spaces we call them the half spaces. This is where Julian Alvarez then Bernardo Silva come into play. Why these spaces? These spaces are so crucial for Manchester City's play in the sense that these areas, it actually gives the defenders split decision to make, whether they stay glued to the danger man in Erling Haaland, or they have to do what? Cover these spaces. And when these spaces opens, that is where we see Phil Foden moving into these areas, or Bernardo Silva can do that overlap here, because in this setup, before Kyle Walker moves here, it takes more time. So most of the time, it is the wingers that provide that underlap or the overlap here to exploit the defensive lines of Liverpool. And this is what actually that happened in the 90 minutes for Manchester City. But in the second half, Pep Guardiola did a tactical switch, bringing on the like of Mateo Kovacic to replace Kevin De Bruyne, and brought on Jeremy Doku to take off Alvarez. Why that change? It is simple. Jeremy Doku, instead of exploiting these pocket sizes, it was so comfortable because Joe Gomez is an expert when it comes to him defending in this area, because that time Joe Gomez has shifted from the left hand side to the right hand side. So they needed a 1v1 specialist to cancel out that superiority that Joe Gomez had on Alvarez there. So in this situation, what they had to do was to actually exploit that 1v1 battle, where always Joe Gomez would be glued to Jeremy Doku. And in their progression spaces, you could see that Manchester City had a lot of issues. They had a lot of problems when it comes to their progression play. Why that? Because Liverpool were causing chaos. When they lose the ball, they move into their convertible 4-4-2 shape, and that 4-4-2 could be a flat way where Luis Diaz plays alongside Darwin Núñez, or it could be still a convertible 4-3-3 where they squeezed these central areas, because this is where Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva are dangerous, or they can exploit players like Erling Haaland to utilize this kind of spaces with his typical traditional forward runs. But in this game at Anfield, Klopp did so well in restricting Manchester City's play in infield, but bringing on Mateo Kovacic, we saw Liverpool coming back again, coming back alive. They were activated with their tiki-taka style of play. And what happened? Mateo Kovacic became the Carrilero of the team, where he moves deep, receives the ball, then initiates the attack. Most often they try as much as possible to attack on the left flank. Why? Because of the quality of Jeremy Doku, who can actually take on Joe Gomez and cause this kind of situation where the cutback can come in, or he can go to the far post for finishers like Phil Foden and the likes of Bernardo Silva to actually support the play. Now, to counter all this that Pep Guardiola did in the second half, Klopp had a plan. That was the checkmate plan for Klopp. What was that plan? Using Joe Gomez as the inside forward. Most of the time during their progression, Joe Gomez moves inside instead of a traditional fullback moving here to help Mohamed Salah when he came on. He moves inside, and he moving inside actually took Jeremy Doku inside. So most of the time when the build-up starts, these wide regions, the goalkeeper can play Virgil van Dijk or Pansa, because they were rotating most of the time due to the pressure Manchester City were actually impacting on them. So in this channel, what Joe Gomez was doing was that he moves inside from this side to this side. Why? It is because of Mohamed Salah. We call it the qualitative superiority. Nathan Ake didn't have a good game, so Mohamed Salah was tasked to actually exploit the weaknesses of Nathan Ake in this region. So what they needed to do to bypass all this central overload was for the goalkeeper to play him here, Joe Gomez to move inside to open up this free space here for Mohamed Salah to actually exploit Nathan Ake. This is actually what's happening tactically between these two coaches in the likes of Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. I would love to do much of these videos, guys. Please and please again, we will try as much as possible to make it authentic, raw, and you people to have that feeling players have when coaches are actually passing on their tactical instructions to them, to imply them on the pitch, to actually replicate them on the pitch. That is why I'm choosing this setup, to make everything raw for my viewers to actually view. So please and please again, guys, I'm begging you guys, please like, subscribe, and comment for this video to go far. Thank you very much, and we will meet again in the next video.